In this video, I'm going to help clarify some misconceptions that a lot of Warframe players face and still don't know the difference till today, surprisingly. What's good, folks? It's Warframe here with a new Warframe video helping you understand the differences between certain items, abilities, and interactions. For the people who didn't know some of these things, please comment down below with "noted" and a thing that you learned and are interested in learning more about. For the people who knew everything in the video, comment with "easy clap." Alright, let's start. The first one that I hear quite often is calling elemental damage mods status mods and thinking that the element is the status effect. You see, elemental damage mods do different things from their status effects, but they do synergize with each other. Let's take a look at corrosive, for example. The damage type allows you to deal 75% more damage to ferrite armor and fossilized health. However, the status effect, which is the byproduct of you applying a corrosive proc on an enemy, will strip enemy armor up to 26% for 8 seconds, and applying additional procs will increase the percentage by 6%, which caps out at 80% armor strip at 10 stacks. While each individual proc has its own duration, applying more corrosive will upkeep the armor strip. And when you lower the armor by 80%, you're effectively allowing enemies to take more damage, and in this case, ferrite armored enemies end up taking even more damage. Pretty much how slash damage is really weak against armor, but the slash proc, aka bleeds, bypasses armor and deals damage directly to the health without the need to armor strip. Here's another one, star chart modding and utilizing your arsenal properly, which a lot of players don't do. They just want to have that one loadout that works for everything. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. And let's use a melee for example. The Venka Prime. It has all the beneficial stats we need to build a slash machine. However, modding it for bleeds for star chart missions is actually not the way to go. Bleed builds are DOT builds, and it's necessarily not the way to go about it in the star chart, nor the use of condition overload, because there are types of DOTs that take a whole second before they start dealing damage, and you will most likely kill enemies before they even get procced with slash. So there are 4 elemental combos you can take for every star chart mission. Corrosive against the majority of the star chart, since it has a lot of Grineer, and Corrupted, and of course they consist of Grineer units as well. Corpus missions take flat raw toxin damage or radiation. I would suggest radiation mostly for index purposes, but a majority of the Corpus units are health and shields, and toxin damage bypasses shields and deals damage directly to the health. And finally, for infested missions, mod for gas. Even though gas is a DOT, it is an area of effect DOT, so it procs instantly and deals damage right away, and perfect for the infested units. And since we're on the topic of melee, for the love of God, please do not mod your melee with viral and heat. And yes, a lot of people do this. It's shocking, and they think it's the best way. It's not. And let me tell you why it's bad. Number 1, raw viral damage is useless against armored units or even shielded units, unless you pair it up with slash to bleed enemies, because viral damage isn't what makes viral strong, but its status effect, allowing you to multiply the damage you deal to the health by 325%. And what deals damage to the health? Bleeds. And number 2, melees don't have hunter munitions and need proc priority, meaning if you want to properly pair slash and viral, then either reduce the viral weighting on your build so the slash damage is able to proc more often, or you can just outsource your viral procs by the use of a primer. Number 3, heat is a 50% armor strip on the first proc, allowing you to deal even more damage, and its DOT is what makes it very strong. Basically, applying more heat procs amplifies its damage potential. If you're modding your melee for heat damage, then remove the viral for more multipliers and utility, because if you want to use a scaling build that uses heat as its main damage source, then take items to properly allow it to scale, meaning utility weapons to proc viral and other status effects to help boost your damage output. For heat to benefit a lot more on a build, it needs to have a weapon that can apply the heat status effect really fast. That's why you tend to see beam weapons like the Phantasma, Cycron go for the viral and heat route, because they're fast fast application, have decent status chance, and they tend to have better heat mods to increase the proc priority and damage. And armor stripping enemies will be required to fully allow it to infinitely scale without issues. And number 4, if you're shoving way too many mods onto a build, you're basically making the build worse. Pretty green numbers on the modding screen don't mean you're always doing more damage. You have to spread your mods and multipliers like spreading butter on toast. Here's another commonly asked question. What is the best weapon or frame in the game? I get this question a lot due to people afraid to invest into something or looking for some validation, as in wanting to know if the decision to invest in that said item was a good choice. Let me make this clear. Warframe isn't as one-dimensional as that. The game has different weapons and warframes with strengths and weaknesses in various aspects of the game. The best thing to do is mod or build for the encounter, like explained in the earlier topics. This will also tie in with another topic about maining a warframe. You can have a frame that you enjoy playing, but it won't reward you as much like how other games do. For example, unlocking newer frames and weapons, using them in specific missions to do them efficiently to help you farm items that can benefit your count. I understand you may have that one warframe loadout with that main frame and weapon set, but you will be missing out on a lot of different experiences with the game. At the end of the day, test things out and see the difference. And if it ain't for you, well, shoot, don't use it. You can't force people to play a certain way, even if they mod Virulent Heat on their melee. And last but not least, base damage modding. The difference to know when talking about the term additive damage. Base damage mods are multipliers because they are multiplying your base damage, but they're also additive to your base damage. Let me explain. I'm no math genius, but this is quite simple to understand. Taking a look at the Soma Prime having 12 base damage. This 12 base damage is at its 100% value. So when we add Serration, which is a 165% damage bonus, we now get 265%, bringing our new modded base damage value to 31.8. However, if you turn 165% into a multiplier, you're getting 12 times 2.65, and that also gets you 31.8. However, here is what people mean when we talk about base damage being additive. It's because multipliers of the same category are additive to each other. Meaning if you add Serration and Heavy Caliber onto the build, they will be additive to each other because they are separate mods but the same multiplier. So you won't be getting a significant increase in damage, just like modding Condition Overload and Prime Pressure Point. Please don't do that. This is why we use base damage weapon arcanes, freeing up an entire mod slot to further increase our damage. And any modded or innate element is also affected by base damage mods and arcanes, along with unique mods like Hunter Munitions and Internal Bleeding. Alright folks, that has been it from this video. I hope you've learned something and enjoyed the video. And if you did, feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more, and as always, peace.